Hey, fuckers. I used to be able to bend these notes up here. It's hard as hell to do. And it sounds like shit. Hi, everybody. Oh, that's right. We already do that, huh? Lol.
Our sponsor, Simple Pleasures. Steve and I just went over and saw Hunter. He is the man at Simple Pleasures. He's the manager, but he's passionate about the weed, isn't he?
Yes, he is. And man, they got a great business going there. I had no idea that a shop like that could sell grade A pot bong. I know you can get bongs. I got a nice little grinder there. I got a bunch of pipes. I got a cheap bong because that's kind I like because they're easy to clean. But he was so generous and so kind and gave me a bunch of edibles, which is how I got started on using cannabis in the first place. So he gave me some 5 and some 10s, and I think he snuck in a 200 just to see if I'll die.
He told me to keep the camera going when you
Yeah. I didn't take one yet. I don't want to die on camera.
But Simple Pleasures, if you're local to Hagerstown, check them out. Stop in. I think they're open every day except Sunday. So check them out.
Lazy bastards.
I know. Need a day off. But they're the spot. They'll hook you up.
Absolutely. And they have everything. And that place was packed the whole time we were there. We were just there to meet everybody, rub some palms, and then they just started offering me all this free shit. And I'm like, that's cool. Yeah, I'll take one. How many? 5? Sure, I like 5 of them. Want a hat? Fucking A, I want a hat. I want anything you got. What's this thing? I don't know, but it's got tits and a pussy in it. I think it's a bowl, but I'm not really sure.
That's a bowl.
But I'm going to use it, and I'm probably going to get an erection. And by the way, I am playing with my balls right now. You can't see it.
So
anywho,
this week, the nominees for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame
that's how, didn't it?
is out. So
Let's go through them.
Let's do that. So I think there was 13 or 14.
So how many do they actually pick?
You know, I'm not sure. I think
Because the show already lasts like 6 hours with like 4 or 5, so it's probably a limit, 5 or 6 at the most.
there is. I'm not sure. I'm not positive. I'm sure we'll.
I've watched it's like
answer that in
3
the
hours
comments.
of terrible speeches and maybe 3 or 4 good performances.
Yeah.
So a lot of fast forwarding.
Yeah. All right. So it starts off with Billy Idol.
Oh yeah.
Why is he not already in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Fuck yeah, Billy deserves to be in there.
Yeah. He's doing a tour this year.
We got offered a gig with Billy Idol in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. They called our rehearsal hall, and they called me up, and I got a burp. I got to get it out. And so I go up and I answer the phone, and it's our regional promoter. His name was John Harris, and he said, Billy Idol needs an opening act tonight at what the hell was that? It's not a club. It was an outdoor venue up in Harrisburg, City Island. Billy Idol was playing City Island, needed an opener, and thought we would be a great addition. And then they showed Billy Idol a picture of the band, saw that I had blonde hair. He said, nah. Nah. Gotta dye his hair. And they said, will you dye your hair or wear a hat or put your hair up? I said, fuck no. I ain't doing that.
No
You want me
shit.
to dye my hair just to open for Billy Idol? I'm like, nah. Not done that. So, yeah, we passed on that one.
That's crazy.
I know.
Holy shit.
So, yeah, maybe he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame.
Jesus Christ. Okay. Chubby Checker.
He's fat. I don't know. Chubby Checker's like he's a legend. So he didn't have that many big string of hits or anything, but we all know who he is.
Yeah.
Because when I was 5 in my kitchen doing the twist, that was from Chubby Checker.
Yeah.
So, yeah, fuck, throw him in there.
He's legendary.
He is.
This next band, I can't believe they're not in there
I
either.
know.
Bad Company.
Yeah, and even
kidding
Paul
me?
Rogers himself should be in the hall just by himself.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bad Company, absolutely, positively.
They are-
We got to do a show with them, but Paul Rogers wasn't in the band at the time. So it was a little disappointing, but it was still very cool.
They're one of the greats.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the first band that Led Zeppelin signed to their label when they started the Swan Song.
Swan Song, yeah.
Yeah. Long time coming for Bad Company. If they don't make it in over some of these others.
Although they got to make it.
God.
Foreigner just made it in finally after a ridiculous amount of time.
Yeah, okay. This next one I've never even heard of, and I think I'm saying it right. Mana. M-A-N-A.
Yeah, I don't know either.
I don't know if that's a band or a solo
So I
artist
say
or what.
strike Mana.
Yes. Get rid of them.
No Mana for you.
Next up, the Black Crowes.
Hell yes.
Absolutely, hell yes. Oh, yes. Any band that Jimmy Page will go out and tour with.
Right. And involve Chris in doing new music. That was pretty incredible.
Yeah. And he dated, oh my God, I can't believe I forgot her name. My
Kate Hudson.
biggest crush in the world, yeah. Kate Hudson.
Married to her. Had children. That means they had intercourse.
They did.
Probably a lot. Wondering like 12 kids running around.
Oasis.
See, I'm on the fence with that because that was in the 90s and it kind of kicked us out of the party a little bit. Not necessarily them, but, the Nirvanas and all that West Coast stuff that came around that kicked us out of the party. They had 2 good albums, I think. I don't know. I'm on the fence with that one.
So am I, but for different reasons.
It's not my cup of tea.
No. They came out gangbusters and were immediately, became huge. But
Well, they were saying they were better than the Beatles, or they were being compared to the Beatles, and that's what pissed me off right there.
Yep.
Nobody's compared to the Beatles.
Exactly. Mariah Carey.
She's got a legacy. But then again, this is what we talked about, Rick. It's still called the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It should be called the Music Hall of Fame because there's a lot of people in the Hall of Fame that aren't rock and rollers. And Mariah Carey is not a rock and roller. No. But she's legendary, and she sold millions and millions of albums, so I would say yes.
Legendary in her genre, but
and
not
she's
rock
not
and roll.
ugly.
No, she's not. Okay.
She looks like this.
This next one, Outkast.
I don't even know who that is.
Absolutely not. Definitely no.
They're such an outcast, nobody knows who they are.
Andre 5000, I think is what they call him, is his name.
That's just stupid. That's just stupid. Hi, my name's Bong.
Next nominee is Soundgarden.
Again, out of my genre. I know a lot of people love them, and a lot of people really love the singer.
Chris Cornell.
Chris Cornell, who unfortunately took his own life.
Yep.
But I think they were pioneers in that time. Along with Nirvana, I think Soundgarden was right behind them or right equal with them. So I would say yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Just because of Chris Cornell, he was
was
amazing.
great. Yeah.
Amazing. The next band in the lineup is Fish.
I have no idea who that is.
Fish?
Yeah.
They're kind of like the Grateful Dead. They have such a following. People live on the road with them. And I just found out the other day that I didn't realize they were or have been around as long as they have. I think somebody said it's going on 40 years.
I've never heard of them.
And I tried to listen to them.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
You got to be a modern day hippie that smells like patchouli, I think.
Yeah, see, I was never a fan of who'd you just say?
Grateful Dead.
Grateful Dead. Never liked them.
No.
To me, it was chaos. It was something different going on here and here and here. And
32-minute songs.
I remember when I first started teaching, and I would teach anything. I'll teach you how to make farts out of your armpit. So this kid come in and he wanted to learn a Grateful Dead song on guitar.
Okay.
And I'm like, I can pick out anything on a guitar. And I started listening to this song, and I had no clue where
Really?
to start. It's like, I don't even hear a chord progression. There's nothing here. It's just, whoa. It's stupid as fuck. I say, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Next.
I feel the same about Fish. I mean, it's just no. So I'm saying no on Fish into the Rock and Roll Hall
Fuck
of Fame.
Fish.
No way.
I'm kidding, Fish. I don't even know you. I'm still playing with my balls, Father.
All right. Joy Division / New Order. I guess it's the same band, and that's the name of it.
Again, that stuff that's out of my
I've never heard of them.
off my map.
All right, we can't even discuss it.
No.
Joe Cocker.
Joe Cocker's a legend.
He is.
I didn't know Joe Cocker until John Belushi started doing them on Saturday Night Live. He would fall and shit.
Careful, Trump did that, and he got in trouble.
What?
Remember he made fun of that reporter?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So now he just does jacking off two guys at once. I stole that from Bill Maher. He uses that every week. Here's Trump jacking off two guys at the same time. Yeah, Joe Cocker. I give him a thumbs up.
I agree. Yeah, he should be. He's legendary. The White Stripes.
Not familiar enough to have an opinion.
Seven Nation Army. You got to know that song.
No, I don't. I don't listen to radio. Anything I listen to now is on in my iTunes. That's it.
You know the song I refuse to sing on camera, but it's what we start all the rock bands at the Institute off on because it's such an easy song to learn.
What is it?
Seven Nation Army gonna hold me down. Some
No,
sort of.
no
You know
bells.
it. I just suck.
No bells.
But I'm saying no on the White Stripes.
All right.
Absolutely not.
They're out. Them and Fish.
Yeah. And the last nominee for this year's Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is Cyndi Lauper.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
She was in We Are the World.
Yeah, she was. She had a string of hits.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great, and she was unique, very unique.
She was. She was around the Madonna era, and
I
kind
liked her
of.
better than Madonna.
You did?
Yeah, she wasn't as poppy as Madonna. Madonna was very poppy, very good, but very poppy.
Yeah. So yes on Cyndi Lauper. So it'll be interesting to see, I guess,
Yeah.
next episode. When are they holding this? Do you know?
I don't know. Usually they announce like a month or two before, and then everybody procrastinates, and then they come up with so-called winners.
Gotcha. Well, hopefully next episode we'll be able to talk about who won and who didn't and compare our choices to the judges. We'll see.
We're smarter than them.
So, a question that came through, it was one of many that came through. For you, I'll ask a couple of them to you. The first one is, looking back over your long career, 40 plus years, do you have any regrets?
Very few, but there are a couple, and one that comes to mind immediately is when COVID broke out, and the world stopped, and you were told to stay in your house and lower the spread or whatever, and 18 months later, we finally get out, but in order to get out, we had to be vaccinated. We had to get those cards, which you helped me with.
Yep, the whole band.
We got our cards. We got our first vaccination, and then the second, next month we got our second vaccination. And that's what we had to do in order to get back out and play. And, I got up on my soapbox, and I was totally following protocol of what we were being told by the government, what we're being told by doctors. I bought it. Hook, sign, and linker. Hook, sign, and linker? I think I just made up a new phrase. Can you write that down?
Hook, sign, and linker.
Hook, sign, and linker.
I won't forget that one. Hook, sign, and linker.
And so I remember going out, and there would be people with no mask on in our crowds, and I would berate them a little bit. I'd say, "What's wrong with you? Everybody else is following along, but you got to be an asshole." And people got mad at me. I was really urging people to get vaccinated because that's what we were told to do, and in order for us to work, that's what we had to do. And we had to get boosters. Every time we did a festival, we needed a booster. Every time we did a cruise, we needed a booster. And now I regret that because we were misled by our government, by our pharmaceutical companies, and the truth is coming out now. But at the time, I didn't know, and for all the fans that I offended, I apologize, because right now I know better, and I know that you guys were right and I was wrong. The other thing I regret, the last show, the final show, I introduced so many people. I think we talked about this on one of the auctions. And there were so many people that I had to remember just little stories and how they're affiliated with the band, how long they've been with the band. And after going through like 20 people, and I had it in the back of my mind, I've got to mention Donnie Purnell. I mean, this guy started the band, was the rock of the band, wrote the music. He got us here tonight. If it wasn't for Donnie, we wouldn't be here. And I forgot. Yeah. I have so much shit going on in my head. And I even forgot to introduce Mark Shanker. That's how blah, blah, blah I was. So
he came over and said,
"Who
hey, am I?"
Yeah, remember me? So anyway, regrets, I'm sure there's more than that, but those are the ones that really bugged me.
That's not bad for 40-some years.
No, it's not. Oh, there's plenty of regrets. Are you shitting me? I'm holding back. We got to do a bunch of these podcasts.
Yeah,
you got to hold some shit back.
So, speaking of Donnie,
yeah,
I love that story you told about when somebody attacked him. I mean, I don't love the fact that he got attacked, but I like the story you told me about.
What, the midgets?
No, the other one. The monitor guy.
Oh, we were in New Jersey.
Yeah.
I think it was New Jersey, Connecticut, somewhere up there. And we're doing this show. It's not a very big show. I mean, we're just taking gigs to fill spots as we travel. So this is one of those filler gigs. And we're there, and the stage is about this high. We love that because we're pretty active, and we like to have people be able to watch what we do. And that has nothing to do with what I'm getting back. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But anyway, Donnie was not a very easy guy to please as far as monitors or stage or air or hands, whatever. And he had a monitor like under Jimmy's drum riser, and it was feeding back, and it just kept feeding back. And Donnie would look over the monitor guy and go, turn it down. And it just kept feeding back and feeding back. After about 3 songs into the show, Donnie always had a Coke on the drum stage, and he picked it up and he threw it over to Monitor World.
Damn.
And it went all over the console, and this guy come over and punched him right in the fucking nose. And blood and everything just went crazy. And I'm still out there. I'm still performing. I'm fucking in. I'm in the groove. I didn't even miss his bass not being there. And our manager at the time, Mark Puma, comes out and goes, "Steve, show's over." I said, What happened? Donnie's on his way to the hospital. And
oh, shit.
And we're done. So, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he get arrested or anything?
The guy, the monitor guy?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't think so. Donnie was wrong.
Wow.
He's the one that started the whole damn. You don't throw a fucking Coke at Monitor World.
Wow.
I mean, you can get up and talk in between songs and go, "Hey, buddy, come here." But you don't do that. Donnie was volatile at times. When he got angry, shit flew.
No shit.
Yeah.
Damn. So what Cool Kids, I've heard you mention over the years that you just didn't like the album.
None of us liked the album.
What was the main reason for that?
We wrote a lot of, we thought were good rock and roll songs. And coming off the first album, which was, that was our staple sound. That's what we wanted to be known for. And I liked the diversity of the first album, that you could do Heartache, and you could do whatever else is on that album. But I mean, every song didn't sound the same. And that was always our goal. So on the second album, we brought in new management. It was Bud Prager, who at the time was managing Foreigner. So we thought, that's a good move. Foreigner's on Atlantic, we're on Atlantic, Bud knows Atlantic. This could be good. So we thought we were in the hot seat. And just making the record, when we would come in the next day to listen to playbacks, there would be all these keyboards and all these different singers and all this shit going on. We're like, the fuck is all this? Oh, I brought in so-and-so to do some background vocals, like on For Shame. For Shame! We didn't need fucking background vocals to do that, but he brought people in. It was like a way to pay people off. They were probably giving him coke and he's giving them money,
Gotcha.
to come in. So it was one of them kind of deals. And the record had some good stuff on it that we are proud of, but we hated the opening song. We were forced to do it, and when we actually recorded it, it's when they would bring in these people when we weren't in the studio. And the hell was the name of that? Burning Love, piece of shit. And we were forced to do it, and we tried to turn it into almost like a stick song, a bump, 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 bump. But they come in and turned it into a pop song.
Yeah. And
And then cool kids fucking hated that song. I used to get pelted every night with dimes and cigarettes. That's a good idea. I mean, and poor Donnie, he locked himself into his room because he knew that the material that we were doing wasn't going to make this album break. And we had people coming down telling us, okay, here's your competition, showing us the Def Leppard Pyromania album, and we're making this lame piece of shit album that we know is not what we're capable of and not what we're allowed to do. So we had to listen to all these people. Bud Prager, the manager, Pete Solly, the producer, RnR people. They're telling us, you want to get on the radio, you want to make it, this is what you got to do. So we put our tail between our legs and we listened to them. And we did it. And that's why we hate that record, because the record didn't do shit. It didn't do as well as the first album. A lot of people, for some reason, in central Pennsylvania, latched onto that record like it was Led Zeppelin 4. And I never understood that. But yeah, it was not a good time from the time we got down there. Except Brian had a great time.
he did.
Brian turned into Buck Sin. Brian is such an unassuming guy. He never really paid much attention to girls. Girls would flock to him, and he wouldn't even didn't care.
Right.
And Ronnie was the puss magnet, and Brian could have been the super pussy magnet if he wanted to be, but he never wanted to be that. He was happy being home, being married, and something happened when we got to Miami. Him and Brad Divins, who was filling in for Ronnie at the time, they would go out almost every night, and these places were open to like 4 a.m. These guys were getting hammered, and little by little Brian Forsyth turned into Buck Sin. And he was dating these beautiful girls, and it was just a life-changing thing to see him do that. And then we got back home, we reverted right back to his old self.
No shit.
Yeah.
Wow. That would have been interesting to see, because he's pretty reserved.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I ever heard Brian cuss, we were coming back from the Mountain View, and it was late and we were hammered, and he was going up to his apartment and we lived in the same building but different apartments, and I said, "Good night, Brian." He goes, "Good night, you motherfucker." And I was shocked because I've never heard a foul word come out of his mouth. But that's his sense of humor too. He's a very subtly funny guy.
That's fucking awesome.
Now the best story I have from the second album is me and Jimmy. We took our bikes just to get some exercise and get a day off, go out on the beach and ride your bike. So we took our bikes to Florida, Miami, and we got a day off. And they were few and far between when you're making an album. And we got a day off, so Jimmy and I decided, let's get up early, let's get on our bikes, and let's just take a nice long ride and enjoy the day. So we did. So we're riding along this path. We can see this little sign way far in the distance, and we get close. We keep trying to figure out what it says. We keep going, get a little closer. We get up on it and go, "Coldest beer on earth." This is like 10 in the morning. We got to try. We got to know. So we go over and we get the coldest beer on earth. And it was the coldest beer on earth.
Is that right?
It was great. So now we got a beer in us, and we just keep going. We come up on this strip club, dance place, whatever. And it was a $10 2-drink minimum. This is like 11 o'clock now. But it's still early. We're drinking. We're going to a strip club. And we go in there, and these aren't the hottest looking girls in the world. It's early. You know, the good stuff comes out at night.
Right.
They just bring these girls in because they just pull them off the street. You want to come in and dance? I'll give you a hamburger. Yeah, sure. So these girls are coming out, and we're not impressed. And then after we're on our second drink, and this woman walks out, and she had to weigh 400 pounds.
No way.
She was huge. I mean, just everywhere. And as these girls would come off stage, they would dance around each table. So you had to, like, you know, give them a little something.
Yeah.
And that girl walks out. Jimmy looks at me and goes, "Guzzle." That's my guzzle story. I love that story. I've told that story 100 times, and it never fails. It was just so fucking perfect. He looks at me and total serious. Guzzle. And we did. We got the hell out of there.
That's hilarious. Something else I was thinking about, and the unspoken rule, at least with Kicks, was you do not miss a show, no matter what.
Never.
And what made me think of it was either Jimmy's or Mark's parent died, and either the same day or the very next day you guys had a show.
Mark's dad passed the day before, and we had to fly somewhere to do a show. And we told Mark, "No, you don't need to do this."
Right.
He goes, "No, I'm there." He said, "It'll get my mind off of it." And yeah, he persevered. I mean, it was hard. You could tell he was broke. But yeah, that's always been the motto. I've gone on stage with strep throat, fever of 104, 103. I've gone on stage where I couldn't even walk with sciatic nerve. You just do it. You get through it, and then you deal with the pain later. So yeah, that's always been our motto. I don't think we've ever canceled a show on purpose. I mean,
Right.
Mother Nature's taken some shows out from under us, but I don't think we've ever canceled.
That's just wild. I mean, people call into work because they have a headache, and you know, my
Well, there's a
stomach
lot
feels
more
a little
involved than
funny
one
and-
person going to a job. You got a whole road crew. You got a whole club. You got people that bought tickets. There's so much relying on the show that's already in the pipeline. So, you know, if you come up, well, I hurt my foot. I
Yeah.
can't do a show. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Do a show.
That's right. I love that motto. You want to get to some history stuff?
Yeah.
This day in history? We got a couple things here. And I'm sure you can relate to at least a couple of them. This week in 1980, Bon Scott died.
Oh, I remember that one. That hit me hard.
Did it?
Yeah, loved Bon Scott. Was so into AC/DC. I mean, when we were the Shoes, we played as much AC/DC as we played everything else. We would play a lot of Led Zeppelin, a lot of AC/DC, and then sporadic other things. And then we'd sprinkle in, you know, our originals. But AC/DC was a big one. And Bon Scott was a big influence for me. Loved his voice, loved his sense of humor, his lyrics. Everything about him was just, it was great. And, you know, Brian Johnson came in and did a great job. But those of us who got into AC/DC early, we can never let the memories of Bon Scott go.
Right. That's cool. This week in 1964, a British company shipped a half a ton of Beatles wigs to the U.S. American Reporter asked John Lennon, "How do you feel about
Get your glasses ready.
teenagers imitating you with Beatles wigs?" And John Lennon replied, "They're not imitating us because we don't wear Beatles wigs."
Perfect answer. That's John Lennon's sense of humor.
That's your sense of humor. That's something you would say.
True.
This week in 1960, Jimi Hendrix made his very first stage, or had his very first stage performance in Seattle, Washington, with his band called the Rocking Kings.
Okay.
I was never a big Hendrix fan.
Yeah, I never was either. I never really liked it. I like people that can sing.
Yeah.
You know, my first favorite singer was Mark Farner.
Yeah.
Or I mean, John and Paul, obviously, but Mark Farner out of that genre, it caught my eye because he could sing high, he could sing melodic. And when I hear people like Hendrix just singing in like a monotone voice, it doesn't do anything for me.
Yeah.
I know everybody thinks he's a great guitar player, but I just never got it.
Same with Bob Dylan.
I know people are going to hate me because Hendrix is like a god to some people, but never got it.
I feel the same. We might get some hate comments in the comment section, but what can I say? So I got a message from Brian's girlfriend, Shannon. She sent me a message the other night, said, "We're sitting in a restaurant and the piano player just played Tears for Fears. Everybody wants to rule the world. Brian said Steve made up his own lyrics to this song one night when he was high and drunk in the van, but he can't remember what they were. Does Steve remember?"
Hell no.
I think so.
Hell no. I remember one time I made Ronnie Youngkins laugh so hard he pissed himself. I think we were doing mushrooms or something, and I started putting my coat on, and it was upside down and inside out and backwards. I mean, it was nothing right about it. And Ronnie just fucking lost it and couldn't. And I wasn't trying to be funny. I was trying to get my jacket on because we were getting ready to go to a convenience store. I made him laugh so hard.
Law. All right, let's go to some questions.
Good call.
This is one, it's been sitting in our inbox for a couple of weeks. It says, "I was at a Funny Money show at the zoo in Dundalk back in the day, chatting with the soundboard guy prior to the show. He complimented me on my Ramones t-shirt and says Steve was friends with Joey Ramone. Was wondering if Steve ever had a chance to jam with Joey and if he was able to see him before he passed away in 2001.
I don't know if I would call Joey a friend, but he was an acquaintance that when we played in New York City, he would always come out and enjoy the band, and we would take him back up to the hotel room. We'd have a party with him. And one night he got a little bit too partied out and passed out in his chair, and I think he pissed all over the chair. And poor Brian, knowing that he's got to get him out of there, he gets Joey up and gets him down into a cab and said, "Joey, tell him where you live." He couldn't even talk.
Oh my God.
So Brian just threw him in the cab and said, "Okay." I don't know if he ever made it to his house. I don't know. And Brian could tell that story way better than I could. But yeah, I mean, we would run into Joey, and Joey liked the band, so that was cool.
That is cool. I never knew there was a connection there. Very cool. See, some of these are bringing out some stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I like the questions.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. That question was from Bob Johnston. Appreciate the question, Bob.
Oh, man, Johnston's boy.
Yeah, yeah. All right, this next one is from Claude Canther. He says, "Hey guys, enjoyed the first couple of episodes and hope you're having a blast doing it. A couple of questions. Can you tell the story about the show in the early 80s at the old Brunswick Volunteer Fire Hall when all hell broke loose? The word around town the next day was that the Fredericks Riot Squad was sent in to help the Brunswick police regain control toward the end of the night. Was it really that bad, or was it blown out of proportion?"
Let me drink about it. I've been waiting to do that all. Okay. Yeah, that was chaos.
Really?
That was total chaos. It wasn't the Brunswick Fire Hall that everybody remembers that we played. It's a much smaller venue at the time, and it was way sold out, oversold out, and a fight broke out, and then it just kept escalating, getting bigger and bigger and bigger, to the point where people were dropping out of the ceilings and shit. It was nuts.
Wow.
And they called in the police, and it was nuts. I remember that very well. We just got the hell out of there. I don't know if our equipment got destroyed. I don't remember. was a good time.
All right.
I think we got paid, and that's all that really matters.
So here's he sent a multitude of questions. We'll ask the second one here. It says, did you ever meet any fellow musicians who, based on reputation or some other reason, you thought they were going to be complete dicks, but they turned out to be completely different than their reputation?
See, I don't go in prejudging people like that. I judge them from when I meet them, and then I'll determine, okay, you're a nice guy or you're a dick. So I don't really.
Yeah, you said before that when you met with Axl Rose that he was cool, but then you hear a lot of people say, "Oh, he's a dick. He's a dick."
Well, I met him before they exploded. You know, he was just a hungry musician, down to earth guy trying to pick my brain because we had already made 3 albums on Atlantic, and he was. We spent about maybe half an hour talking, and then they came to Hammerjacks after the album was out and it started to do well, and I definitely had to go see them because they were great. When we opened for them at the Troubadour, they blew us away. It was obvious this is going to be a superstar band, and they played at Hammerjacks. It wasn't even sold out yet. That's
Wow.
just the beginning. And I saw him and briefly just said hi, and that was it. The last time I ever talked to him.
Damn. Okay. I think we got time for one more here, and this is from.
He refuses to wear glasses.
I forgot him. Okay. This is from. Glenn Miller.
It is Glenn Miller.
Yeah, go ahead.
I thought he was dead. Hey, Steve, great podcast. Thanks. Always enjoyed the shows at the start. Always enjoyed the shows at the Stardust, Shoes and Kicks. You guys had a curtain in front of the amps on stage and would drop to your knees while you told various entertaining stories. Remember one about a penguin? When you opened a refrigerator. Anyway, both were unique at the time. Who thought of the curtain, and did you have those stories ahead of the time, or did you just improvise on stage? The curtain was already in place when I joined the band. That was Donnie's idea, to cover the amps, because we didn't have the best amps in the world, but they were good. But then it's when people would try to stack the stage, make it look like it was a big deal. So
Yeah.
our solution was to cover the amps all together and just have that white backdrop, which looked very cool. And what was the other part? Oh, the bits.
Yeah.
I would work out some bits in my head ahead of time, and a lot of time it was just improvised. Whatever I would feed off the crowd. Donnie and I used to go out to toy stores or anything where we could buy dumb shit that was cheap, and we could talk about it and make a bit out of it. So we used to do that all the time, and he's a funny fucker.
Donnie?
Yeah, he's a funny guy, and he would always give me idea bits, and we would run them. We would do all kinds of dumb shit. Remember, we played this club in Baltimore, and it had a bunch of like theater stuff in the back. Had this big throne and capes and crowns, and so they decided, Steve, you should go out and, since we just got a record deal, talk about how humble you are, even though you've got a big time record deal. And I'm sitting there in this throne. They bring the throne out and I sit in it, and I start saying how lucky we are and how grateful I am that everything. Then they put the robe around me, and I keep going being humble. Then they put the crown on and go, "You're fucking A, we deserve this."
I'd like to see a video
And
of that.
it just kept escalating, and it just kept getting funnier and funnier. On that note.